Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of Starting From Scratch. Goodness, 20 episodes already, and I can definitely say I've made progress, which is not very difficult because at the beginning I couldn't do anything at all, but it just shows how long things take, even for somebody like me who knows how it has to be done. Basically, I have my own teacher inside me. Normally one never has that, so for everybody else it's even more difficult. And the violin is such a slave instrument. You don't get away with anything. Everything has to be practiced, which is why this episode is titled Practicing Challenge Part 2, because how to practice is the most important thing which one has to learn. It's by far the most important thing, because if you don't know how to practice, specifically how to practice, then you basically don't have a chance to learn how to play the violin. The basic rule with practicing is be patient, realize you're a slave to this instrument, and specifically target what is difficult. Today I'm going to go into the second half of line 2 of Wolfhardt's Etude number 1. That's about a downwards moving scale, and the difficulty is bringing the fourth finger over onto the lower string. Now, lots of people, when they start learning the violin, just avoid using their fourth finger and use the open string instead. But that's no help. Okay, so you're avoiding the difficulty, but the result is that your fourth finger still can't do what it's supposed to do. And as soon as your pieces get more difficult and you have to use a fourth finger, you wind up with a huge problem. So training the fourth finger to be able to move over onto the lower string is one of the most essential things which one has to teach one's string hand right from the beginning. I need to start without the bow, because then I can concentrate 100% on my string hand. It's not as difficult, it doesn't sound as bad, and altogether I'm more relaxed. I'm just going to play the whole bit that I'm targeting today. I still have to give myself plenty of time to find the notes. Now it comes, fourth finger A. See, it's too flat. Biggest difficulty really is the fourth finger reaching over, because I have to widen my hand at the bass joints for that. So practicing this is not just practicing my fourth finger, it's also widening my hand, it's practicing stretching the hand. Now I'm just going to deal with the first fourth finger A. That's my loop. I've created this loop centered around the fourth finger. I'm going to repeat that several times, speeding up as I go. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with the next fourth finger, that's fourth finger D on the G string, but I'm going to work my way down from the beginning. That's my next loop. I'm going to do that a few times, speeding up. My next challenge is the bit on the G string after the fourth finger. I have difficulties with the first finger being in tune. It's often too sharp because the fourth finger, which has to stretch up this way, brings the other fingers along with it and messes up the intonation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same loop, but I'm going to extend it. Usually the A, those notes are usually not very good with intonation, so I'm going to do that again. Again. That's a little bit better. I'm going to have to repeat that several times now. One more time. Okay, this I would have to repeat probably at least another 20 times, taking breaks of course, but that would be too boring for a video, so I'll spare myself that. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the bow. That's much more difficult because I can't look at my string hand fingers because I have to look at my bow, because otherwise my bow just completely messes up. I have to remind myself to relax my bow hand, and when I do that, usually my string hand fingers mess up because I'm concentrating on the bow hand. So this is a lot more difficult. I need to play the whole bit that I want to target once through just to see where I stand. Okay, the biggest difficulty I'm noticing, because you can tell it's much worse than when I did it pizzicato, and that's largely because I can't look at my string hand fingers. Now I'm going to once allow myself to look at the string hand fingers and not worry about the bow, and we'll just see what happens. Yes, that's a lot easier for the string hand, but it sounds terrible because my bow hand was tensing up, my bow wasn't moving very well, so it doesn't help very much if it doesn't sound good. So now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to concentrate on the bow. Sound was a little bit better, but of course now the string hand messed up, so I have no choice. I have to practice those same loops, and I have to repeat them over and over again. So I'm going to start with the first loop. getting a little bit better, but the loop needs to be repeated a lot more often. Now I'm going to do the next loop, but I'm going to start at the beginning of this bit and work my way down to the next loop. Okay, here we go. Strangely enough, that one seems to work better. Perhaps because the fourth finger is coming for the second time and not for the first time. Now I'm going to work at the end bit where I'm on the G string because of the intonation. Okay, now I'm going to try to do that with a relaxed bow hand because it's tensing up again. Yeah, now nothing's working again. Oh, that's no good again. Yeah, my bow hand's still tensing up, and as soon as I concentrate on my bow hand, the string hand can't do its stuff anymore. So this needs a lot more repetitive loop practicing. Literally, I would probably repeat that loop maybe a total of 50 times if necessary, not all at once and taking breaks, but just to give you an idea of how one actually practices, because it's no good knowing something is difficult and then just hoping it'll come off. One has to specifically target it and one has to specifically practice it, and that one has to do with repetitive practicing, because I need my string hand to do most of what it has to do more or less automatic, so that I can concentrate on the bow. The bow makes the sound, the bow leads, the bow is violin playing, but none of that is possible yet. So I'm just going to finish off with playing that whole part. Hopefully it's a little bit better than it was before. Okay, it's definitely better. What I noticed now, for the first time since I turned myself into a beginner again, that my fingers were starting to move a little bit more automatically. They found their position sooner, and it wasn't so much that I actively had to concentrate on every finger which gets put down, but they just moved automatically on their own. Nowhere near what I wanted to be, but this is the first time where I noticed that I'm getting my string hand to move a little bit automatically. So I'm glad I could finish with a success, which is probably hardly visible and hardly noticeable, but I could feel it. So that's one clear and definite sign of progress, which I'm very happy about. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Practicing episodes are most likely never going to be all that interesting unless you're interested in practicing as such, because there's so much repetitive stuff going on. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this sort of thing, and let me know in the comments how you're getting on. And see you next week. Bye.